Hi, David, they call me MacGyver. Today I'm going to do a review on a yard machine three-way system chipper. It grinds up leaves, do branches, and it's got a chute on it, or you can actually lay it down and use it as a rake-in dispenser or acceptor, whatever. And I'm going to give a review on it and also show you a way you can reduce your recycle if you have yard debris that you need to recycle. I've got recycle cans. They just changed where they used to come around 3 times every 2 weeks in the fall and scrape up our leaves. We just brushed them out into the street, and they quit that. This year they're not doing that, so I had to figure out another way to be able to recycle my leaves. So I'll show you that and hope it's informational to you, and you hang tight, we'll get started. So this is for putting limbs in. It works, but to me it doesn't work that great. So small limbs are fine. I just wouldn't put anything very big in there at all. And you have little twigs and stuff, you can actually put them in the hopper in the back. But then this hopper, this is the way I'm going to use it. And I don't know how this was fastened together, but it currently has screws that I've got to loosen right here. And I already had that one loose. And then it lays down, and you can just scrape your leaves right into it. That seems to work pretty well, and I'm going to show you in my video how that all worked. And it's got the handles back here to actually move it around. This is the chute that all the debris comes out of, and I'll show you a little trick I did with that to be able to collect the leaves and put it right into my recycle can rather than having to make a pile and then pick it up again. So here is my mound of leaves. It's probably 5 feet wide, 2.5 feet tall, and maybe 35 feet long. And it would normally take about 6 recycle cans for me to fill or to get that into it. So I've got a gunny sack. I had these left over. I used to use them for sack races, and so I found this one, and it's got a hole in it. I couldn't find one without a hole. This is the only one I could find. And anyway, you'll get the idea out of it. I'm gonna lower the chute down, and then we'll get started showing you how this works. And I'll need to fire up the chipper. There we go. It's going to take a little bit because it's cold. Hasn't been run, so we'll get it going here. After we get her running, then we'll start raking the leaves in, or shoveling them in, since I have a shovel instead of a rake. You'll notice that there's a lot of dust coming out of that bag. It's because there's holes in it on this. I didn't have one without the holes, but you'll get the idea. And I haven't used this chipper before. This is the first time. I picked it up for free because the piston was froze, and I was able to get it broke free, and I've got a review on that, or a video on that too, so you can see how I freed up the frozen piston. But I think I got carried away, and I was trying to feed too much leaves in there at one time, so I used the handle of the shovel. And be careful you don't shove it in too deep, or you can get it into the blades. But it's quite a ways down there, because you see the chute and then also that pivot point there. That's all length before it actually gets into the blades. So now I'll grab the bag and take it off of the chipper, off the chute there, undo my bungee cord, and I should have turned that thing down to idle. It's blowing full, so I'm gonna reach over here and turn it down to idle right there. Then it won't be blowing so hard out of that chute, and be easier to get that gunny sack back on there. Take my bungee cord, stretch it around, hook it up. That's just to keep it on there, and we'll turn it back up a little bit, and get it going. Start shoveling in some more. All in all, I feel like this chipper's doing a pretty good job of keeping the leaves crunched up. Every once in a while, I'll get a limb that'll get stuck in the throat of that chute, and that's why I've got to kind of poke it down there with the handle of the shovel. But I even took a couple times and I ran limbs into the limb acceptor there, but it's not going to do a very good sized limb. I mean, small limbs are fine, but you just got to be careful you don't use too big of a limb. I keep moving this around because the chute kind of binds up on the bag there close to the ground, so I got to keep moving it around to keep it going. Yeah, there's also, you'll see some dust coming out close up to the chute because there's a hole in the bag up there too. Once it starts getting full, it kind of filters the dust out. The leaves themselves do. And turn it down to idle and dump the thing. It's getting pretty full. Take my bungee off, take the bag off the chute, and dump it in the recycle. We'll get the bag put back on. I got about halfway done with the leaves. I took a break and realized how much dust I was breathing because of the holes in that bag. So I finally was smart, wised up, and went and got a dust mask and put it on so that I wouldn't be breathing all that dust from every time I fill that. You see how the dust is blowing out of that hole in the bag. Anyway, once it gets a little bit in there, it'll kind of filter and won't be blowing it out of there. Sometimes I lift it up and kind of shake it. Sometimes I have to just kind of wiggle it around with the handle. A limb gets caught in that throat and it just won't allow the leaves to cycle through. So it doesn't take much of a limb. Between that and the chute getting bound up on the pavement there, have to keep shaking that bag to keep that from clogging up. And I did not start with a full tank of gas in this, but I was able to do all these leaves on probably about 3/4 of a tank of gas. So that was pretty impressive, actually. I thought I would have had to fill it up, but not. So just grab the handles and shake it down a little bit. My bag's getting full again. You can see it kind of binding up down there. We'll set this down and unlock, shake it. There we go. Okay. I think we're just about full on the bag, so we'll go ahead and turn it down to idle. We'll take the bungee back off. Got a room for a couple more bags in there. Starting to get closer to the top of the recycle container, but still got some more room. I'm wondering if might be a quicker solution, maybe figure out a Velcro system or something on that bag, just to have the Velcro on the bag itself and just Velcro it together. But really, this chipper seems to handle the leaves in pretty good form. You see how it's disappearing in there. It actually causes suction like a fan, and it's actually sucking those leaves right into the blower, except for when you have it poking out the hole like that. Getting bound up a little bit too. But so I guess my solution is either get a gunny sack with no holes or figure out a different bag system. But this seems to be working pretty good. It gives me the idea of what needs to be done. I think this is a potato sack. I used to work in a restaurant, and this is just one of the potato sacks that they used to send potatoes in. So it worked as a gunny sack brace, and then also it's working for a leaf collection bag. I'm going to move this up a little closer to my pile of leaves. I'm having to push them all the way down here, and then I'll end up using my blower after I've got the bulk of this, and I'll blow the leaves into another pile and get them raked in there so I don't have this mess out in the street. Sometimes a bungee cord, I gotta move it around to make sure I'm getting the bag in it. There's another limb, get it out of the way. You see the leaves blowing out of that hole. Pretty good sized hole in that bag. So I guess I could stitch it up. But after I get a few leaves in there, then it starts filtering that so it doesn't blow the leaves out. There, it's starting to keep them from blowing out there. I do have a couple holes in the bottom of the bag too, but it's working. It's doing what I needed it to do. Shake it just to keep that throat from jamming against the blacktop, and those leaves get backed up in there, so it's getting pretty full. I'll go ahead and dump it. Brought the can up so you can, but it's full now, so I'm going to grab the other recycle can. So we're pretty much halfway, and now you don't have to worry. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. I'm going to put it into time-lapse videos so you can see it, so you don't have to sit and watch me do this for the rest of the half. So I'm going to get it up a little closer to my pile of leaves, and get it over away from the curb a little bit. That bag backs up against the curb and it causes it to bend, and then the leaves get caught in where the chute meets the pavement. It vibrates down because this road is sloped. I'm going to move my camera a little bit there and feed some more leaves. Kind of like that little hippo game, Hungry Hippo. Just keeps eating them. Another stick. Just those get caught in that throat, and then it doesn't want to go in, so I shake it sometimes. There's probably a stick in there that I didn't see. See if I can't move it around a little bit. It's quite a ways in there before you get to the blades, so because you've got the whole chute, and then you've also got that pivot point that's still part of the chute. So quite a ways before it actually gets into the blades. It's full, time to dump. So I'm gonna go, I think, take a break, and when I come back I'll see that I needed to wear a mask. You see I'm wearing a mask now, and I put it on time-lapse video so you don't have to sit and watch the whole thing like that. But I'm scraping it up, and then I'll get my blower and blow this stuff into a pile, and then scrape it into more, finish it up. We got 2 recycled containers full of leaves, which would have been about 6 recycled containers. So I'm pretty pleased at how this worked out. Well, I'd like to thank you for watching. Hope that was some good information for you. And down in the descriptions, I'll put the links for the yard machine. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do that. Click the bell icon. Then every time I come out with a new video, you'll be notified. And I want to thank you again. You have a great day.